I've no idea what your subject is this week.
It's a lovely one, Dougie. You're going to really enjoy it.
Surprise me, aren't you? First of all, though, how did your St. Paddy's Day go?
I survived that too.
You were busy.
I was. It was marvellous. I had 2 gigs on the day itself.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple of straggler gigs on the Saturday and the Sunday. And my voice just held out. It was the Sunday, last 2 songs, and I was hanging on for dear life. I was just, please get me through. And stamina. I pulled all the energy from the very bottom of my toes.
It looks like you managed perfectly.
Yeah, it was good. It was great crack.
Brilliant. So it's the Lunchtime Lifestyle Lab. So what have we got this week?
Come on, Dougie, finish it. It's the Lunchtime Lifestyle Lab, learning to live the limitless life you love.
Yeah, see?
You were shying away from it.
I know, I was just getting it right in my head first.
You were practicing it inside. So I thought I'd like to talk about something really close to my heart, Dougie. And that's my absolute passion, my adoration, and my desire for sugar.
Poison.
Oh, God, I am
poison.
I have such an unhealthy relationship with sugar, and I think an awful lot of people do. Yeah. So I thought it's a great one to talk about because it's so inherent, it's so infused in what we eat and what we long for and what we crave. And it's quite controversial, really, isn't it? Because some people say, it's fine, and other people, there he is.
Tea.
Have you got sugar in your tea?
No sugar in my tea.
Good man.
I don't know how people can. I mean, I used to have 6 sugars, but I used to ask them not to stir it because I don't like it sweet.
Shocking.
I know,
that left me slightly speechless there for a bit.
Wow. Wow, I've never ever seen that before. I don't think anybody's seen Niamh speechless.
No, just trying to visualize 6 spoons of sugar in a cup of tea. God, Lord. Do you want a bit of tea with your sugar? It's great stuff in that it tastes so damn good, and I grew up in a sweet shop. So
really?
I was completely addicted. I'd sneak down in the middle of the night, and it was back in the day when, I don't know whether you remember the sweet shops, they were all on display in these big plastic containers. You'd have your Coca-Cola bottles beside your gummy rings, beside your this. Oh geez, I'd be down in the middle of the night scoffing. Oh. My parents wondering, why is this?
You lived in a sweet shop.
Literally, and it was the best place for my friends to come for a sleepover, obviously, because I'd have all of them down the stairs in the middle of the night scoffing sweeties, Cadbury's, chocolate.
That would have been my childhood dream, to live in a sweet shop or a toy shop.
It was a dream come true, and it was a dream come true later on when I started smoking as well, because I was able to nick the cigarettes from the bottom shelf. It was just fantastic.
Always keep your cigarettes out of the reach of children.
Yes. Dearie me. So I learned very early on how to love sweets. My dad as well, he had a great sweet tooth. My son Oscar has a massive sweet tooth. It makes me nervous because it's even worse than mine. So this is a battle for me. It's an ongoing battle, considering that I'm trying to be the healthiest person I can. This is my massive struggle. So I thought it'd be nice to have a little chat about it, because I know loads of people are going to get what I'm coming from when I start talking about sweeties and chocolate and cakes and cookies and all that delicious gorgeousness. And what we'd like to do today, Dougie, is not put a complete and utter dampener on everybody's parade, do we? Because it's coming up to Easter, and we're all going to love a little bit of Easter egg.
Yeah,
but we're going to have a chat. The dark, you know what? If you can go down the dark route, apparently it is better. Me, I'm the milkier, the sweeter. That's my Achilles heel. But let's have a chat about it. Let's see what we can come up with, and see if we can create a bit of awareness around it, learn a little bit more about what sugar's all about, and if we should or shouldn't, or how much we should or shouldn't. What do you reckon, Dougie? Are you up for a chat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It depends on the individual, doesn't it? Metabolic rate, like.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, my metabolic rate is pretty good, so therefore I'm kind of lucky. I can chug quite a bit of sugar and get away with it.
Yeah.
I think other people, it'll cause all types of weight issues. Then I'm very, very busy. I'm very active. I do
Well,
practice
quite. You do
fitness
a lot of
quite a
walking,
lot.
so I
I
mean,
do. Yeah.
you know,
Having said that, God knows what's going on the inside. Can't see that.
that's true.
And certainly, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, with the H being a big H. So the hyperactivity there in the ADHD, it doesn't mix well with sugar. Or in
Oh,
fact,
right.
I think it mixes great because it gives me extra superhuman powers to be able to do 27 things at once. Um, but
So, what
yeah,
powers does it give you?
well, I can read a book, I can write a story, I can clean the house, and I can do all
All at
this
once,
all at
simultaneously.
once and talk to you all at the same time. No, I tell you, the problem with ADHD is the management of all that's going on at any one time, and the ability to focus, and the ability to be able to multitask. And as a woman, we do tend to be good at multitasking, but it's for me it's quite a struggle. It costs a lot of energy to do so. And the sugar, I suppose, would trigger extra activity and extra
Yeah,
hyperactivity. So I'm
no
just,
doubt.
I'm setting myself up for quite more stress. I can't help it though. God, do I love cake. And as we spoke about before on this show, and I've spoken about it openly with many people, I quit alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, alcohol is basically liquid cream cakes.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't just eliminate sugar completely from my diet. And what I found was when I got rid of the sugar was I was reaching more and more for large family-sized bags of Haribo,
Oh,
jumbo kilo-sized bars of
my
chocolate.
daughter's a big fan of the Haribos. And
Yeah,
I keep
Haribo.
telling her
Yeah.
a little of what you fancy, but not too much. And she's giving it to her kids as well. My
Yeah.
grandchildren.
Well, if you're going to give them something, let it be Haribo, because I suppose it's probably better than some of the SHITE. I
Yeah,
stuck
I
an E on the
suppose.
end to make it Irish. Some of it is awful stuff, but some of it is better than others. Um, about 3 years ago, because I can't do things by halves, I can't just say, oh, I'll just cut down a little bit on sugar. I did a thing called Veganuary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a 30-day challenge in January where you quit eating all animal products. And you know why I did that? For one reason only, very, very simply. I did that to quit Haribo.
Right.
Dougie, I'm going to tell you a secret now. This is my dirty little secret. I would go to bed at night and I'd snuggle up with my Netflix and I'd have a family-sized bag of Haribo with me, and I'd get through that. I wouldn't nibble on it. I'd finish it. I don't even know the weight of it. Half a kilo, something ridiculous. I was so addicted to Haribo that it was, it became more of an issue than the booze almost. So I took on the Veganuary. Not about meat, not about dairy. It was about Haribo,
Yeah.
because it's the
Well, it's made from
ingredient is,
bones.
it's made from gelatin, isn't it?
Yeah.
The animal product in there. So right, well, I'll do Veganuary, and that'll get rid of my Haribo addiction. Do you know what? It did work, and I learned a lot. Now, occasionally I'll pick a jelly, or have a Haribo, but the obsession with it has gone. If there was no Haribo in the house, you didn't want to be near me, I'd be raging. So I've been
It's
able
an
to,
addiction. I mean,
big
sugar,
time.
so easy to be addicted to sugar.
Incredibly easy. And I think a lot of it is to do with the cravings, the highs and lows it gives us. So after we have that energy dip, your body's literally craving for that high again. So it's not just a psychological addiction, it's the physical addiction of needing the energy boost from the sugar. So there's a lot to it. But, it's not all bad. It's one of those ones that, in moderation,
Yeah, I mean,
it
moderation's
isn't.
yeah, but anybody going through a cancer journey will probably, no doubt, know that any sugar will feed that cancer, will feed those cells. So that is a big no-no if you're diagnosed with cancer at all. I mean, on my journey, I read a book called Anti-Cancer: A New Way of Life, written by Dr. David Servan-Schreiber, I think it was, and that book was my Bible through the whole damn thing. And it does center a lot on things like sugar, processed foods, that kind of thing, and how addictive they are, and how on earth they get past the powers that be. What is it? The FSA,
Yeah.
the Food and Drug Administration in the States. There's a whole political thing side of it, but we won't get into that now. But that book was quite an eye opener, and I thoroughly recommend it to anybody, whether they're going through that journey or not, because it's not just about that. It's all about food having evolved and changed, not for the better, over the years, and in fact how farming methods have changed to create that volume of what they bulk things out with such, and yeah, they really do. But
We're using terrible language today, aren't we?
I know, dreadful.
We're obviously very passionate about this.
But the thing, that book did center a lot on refined sugar and things like that. And anybody that loves their sugar, try some fruit, natural
Yeah,
sugar.
it's an interesting one, because I think it's the World Health Organization or whomever those powers that be, they don't categorize processed sugar as a significant carcinogenic, right? So as red meat is, cigarettes are, alcohol is, it's a definitive, it's there, we know it. Sugar somehow slipped through the net. But what we do know is that sugar causes other issues in our body that absolutely do lead to cancer. So, for example, it causes weight gain, obesity, huge cause and trigger of cancer. It causes inflammation. And inflammation is a massive trigger. It leads to various, that's what feeds cancer. So it's a bit of a hairy one. So it's like they're not singing very loudly about us not having to eat it just yet, because I think they need more. It's almost like they need it to be defined as a carcinogenic.
If, for instance, sugar was defined as a carcinogenic, there'd be a lot of people screaming about it, and not just producers of refined sugars and everything that goes with, but what about Big Pharma? They don't want you to get better. Don't be daft.
Oh, well, that is definitely a conversation for another day, and I think we'll need a double show for that one.
Oh yeah, that could go on.
Ooh, yeah, that's one for another day, because Big Pharma, that's a big topic for sure. And funnily enough, they tend to coat a lot of their medication in sugar to make it more
exactly. Well, what was it? What was the Mary Poppins? A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's the irony, I know. But let's take it back a little bit so that we don't scare everybody off, because they might be sitting at home having a cup of coffee with sugar in it and having a lovely slice of cake, because do understand that in moderation and the right kinds of sugar, it isn't the end of the world, and as human beings, we like a treat and we like to be rewarded, and it's okay, it was all right. The thing is, if you're doing very well nutritionally and you're ticking all the boxes, it could be that a reward system helps you continue. So it could be that a slice of cake with your cup of coffee on a Saturday morning out in a nice cafe really works then towards the rest of the week of your hard work. So, there's kind of an emotional reward. It's the rewarding yourself with a slice of cake every day. That's what we're trying. And that's kind of where I was at, total cake. I love cake, carrot cake. You could buy me with carrot cake, I tell you. But then, there's the whole load of good sugars, isn't there? We don't want to knock sugar on the head completely, because there's all the fruits. I had a workshop recently You know, I do a lot of walking events.
Yeah.
And quite often, alongside the walking event, we'll have a workshop. So I'll pay everybody for a walk, build up a little bit of appetite, and then we'll come back and do a workshop. And this was on Valentine's Day. I did a healthy heart workshop, and we covered a few snacks. Now, one of my issues was always breakfast time. I found I really struggled at breakfast time to eat healthily because it was always a quick grab. So whether it was a sugary cereal, a chocolate croissant, 2 digestive cookies with coffee, a slice of toast and jam, you know, all sugary things. I'm not one of these avocado and toasted smoked salmon in the morning type person. I'm a sugar brekkie girl.
There's a lot of faffing around with stuff like that, isn't there? I mean,
it is.
Avocado, toast. Yeah. I mean, I personally, I go for a like natural yogurt with fruit and nuts.
Now you see that you would have been the star of the show at my workshop, because what I did was I said to everybody, it's dead easy. I said to everybody, right guys, let's set a timer. So we got the guys at the workshop to set a timer. I grabbed a banana, 2 kiwis, an apple, I don't remember now, blueberries and some other fruit. I grabbed 5 fruits, and without slicing any of my fingers off, I chopped everything up really fast, threw it in a bowl, added Greek yogurt on top, and sprinkled a really serious, significant serving of seeds. So this was a big, massive bowl, and I was able to share that out amongst 12 people. It took us 6 minutes to prepare that.
Yeah.
And so my point being, I know that we think we're doing it just for convenience, putting the toast in the toaster, but by the time you put the toast in, by the time it's toasted, by the time you found your butter and your jam and maybe had to, you know, warm up the butter, you're up to about, do you know what I mean?
Marmalade on toast with a cup of tea.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Well, make it a nice whole grain toast.
Yeah.
And get yourself a decent marmalade made by the granny up the road. You know, investigate the product.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't have to be the cheapest processed, we're using the rude word again, off the shelf. You know, there are options out there. There's other alternatives as well. Honey's a lot better for us.
Yes.
So, and make sure it's a good, decent honey. You know, get something locally produced that looks after the bees. And honey is actually good for you. So, you know, rather than the cheapskate raspberry jam, that's just pure refined sugar, get yourself a decent honey. I'd love to hear from people who are listening to the show what they do, because it's a great learning curve for me, and I soak up advice when it comes to sugar replacements or sugar alternatives.
Yes. Yes, listener, how can we get Niamh off the Haribos?
Help me.
This is important business.
Because you know what? It's really bad for you. All this sugar, it causes weight gain. It causes, I'm going to give the list now, right? Just to put the fear of God into you. It causes fluctuations in our energy, heart disease, wrinkles, acne, hair loss. I mean, who wants all that? It wrecks our sleep because we're having sugar highs and lows. Tooth decay. Oh, no, thank you very much. Headaches. It makes our PMS worse. And nobody likes that. Not the lady herself, nor the people around her. Yeah. And then there's the big guns, you know, the cholesterol and the diabetes and our weakened immune system. Oh, it causes constipation.
Oh.
No.
Nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that either. So, sugar's nasty. As much as I absolutely love it, if I'm honest with myself, sugar's nasty.
Oh, it is basically poison.
Yeah, really sweet, yummy, gorgeous poison. But you know, we can get it in loads of other forms. We can get it in fresh fruits and dried fruits. There's this fantastic recipe. I'm going to share it with everybody now. You get dates dried without seeds.
Yep.
Big bag of nuts, big bag of seeds, maybe a bit of protein powder if you're into that kind of thing. Chuck them in a blender, right? Mix it up, and then you make protein balls. Now, these are little sweet balls of heaven. And one of them with your coffee in the morning loads you full of energy for hours.
Yep.
I have one of them every morning. I'll bring one into the studio for you, Dougie.
It's been a while since I've made some, but before now, I've made them myself, and with dates. And just to be really cheeky, a little bit of very, very dark chocolate in there.
Oh yeah, a little bit of the
Just
valo, the 70%, 80%
well, more than
cocoa
that if you
powder.
can, yeah.
Lush.
What I do, I put like chopped nuts in there as well, and then I'll push them into an ice cube tray, stick them in the freezer, and then when they come out and you take them out of the tray, little cubes, lovely little cubes of chocolate, but as you say, full of energy and good stuff. You know, there's
Really good stuff.
none of the rubbish in there.
Recently, I've started grating, doing like the zest of orange through them.
Nice.
We'd make a great couple, Dougie, just sitting there with our sugar-free coffee, eating protein balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love a protein ball. And honestly, because I am very on the move in the morning and I need to get stuff done quickly, it's there, it's ready. And I freeze it as well. And I'll take a box out once a week and keep it in the fridge. They're brilliant. The other thing that's lovely, if you're into sweet food, because I'm a devil for it, I will want my mango chutney on my curry, and I'll want the sweet potato over the white potato, and I love a bit of brown sauce and ketchup because it's got the sugar in it. We've got to be careful with all those condiments and extras. They're all loaded with sugar. I'm finding that most of my meals are needing a little bit of a sweet touch. I'm down the curry house and I'm having the tikka masala and the give me the sweeter the better, Awful stuff. What am I going to do?
Well, I spent this weekend messing around with my new food processor, and I've been practicing making a decent coleslaw, because the first one I made, I was using the wrong cutter, so it didn't come out right. And I put too much red cabbage in. It's got that real bitterness. So anyway, this weekend I got it absolutely off pat, perfect. And instead of using mayo, I used natural yogurt, Greek yogurt instead.
And
also put in a little bit of sherry vinegar, a bit of balsamic to give it a bit of sweetness. And if you like a mustardy hit, maybe some grainy mustard, put that all through it, work it together, and it came out amazing. Really, really good. I've got that today because I made too much.
Oh, right. Well, this is awful talk at lunchtime. You've got me starving. My goodness. I do love a coleslaw. I'm super lazy because in our supermarket, Mercadona, there's a little bit of a plug for Mercadona. You can get a ready-made sliced salad.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got spinach in there and carrot and cabbage. It's all sliced. All they've got to do is throw it in and mix up the mayonnaise. But I'll try that with the yogurt. Thank you very much for that. And you know what's lovely in a coleslaw as well? And obviously, if you're into it, is coriander.
I did put coriander and mint in there because those two they work quite well together.
Your coleslaw's gourmet, man.
Well, it's going to last me a few days. Made a big bowl of it.
Sharing is caring, darling.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll bring you some in. But there's also I've been practicing my hummus making as well. This new food processor is perfect for that. And so yes, you know how cheap it is to get dried chickpeas and leave them in soak for 24 hours and then do the business with them and whack them in the food processor, and it with some tahini. I love tahini.
Yeah.
And it came out amazing. So yeah.
You're a man after my own heart. Hummus is on my hit list every day. I eat hummus and spinach and cake. just being honest here.
I did make a tart the other week. I made a tart.
Oh,
that was because I had leftover fruit. And I had one of those ready-made rolls of pastry.
Yes.
No, it was puff pastry actually, and I had to use it. It's no good freezing that stuff because it goes a bit weird when you try and defrost it. So so I made that. I had those cherries you get in a jar, sour cherries.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do with them, Dougie. They frighten me.
I stuck them in a saucepan and reduced them. I would normally put some port in there as well, but I haven't got any. So I just reduce them. And then, so I've got this sour cherryness. I also use some cranberry as well, some dried cranberries in amongst there. So I waited for it to cool down. Once it had cooled down, and I'd put the base into a tart case, spread it over there, grated over some chocolate, only a little bit of dark chocolate, very dark, stuck it in the oven. When it came out, I then grated over some white chocolate as well.
Dougie,
I've frozen most of it.
This is tremendous. You're a man of many skills.
You know, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
I think we should have everybody around for a lovely dinner party. I tell you what, we might have to change it to the lunchtime lifestyle lab with Dougie's lunch and recipes. You're a fantastic chef, it sounds like. I am.
The thing is, I'm one of those people that, you know, I quite like what I make, but I'd be quite nervous about inflicting on other people. Although, having said that, I did make a nice Christmas chutney this Christmas just gone, and put it into little mason jars.
Yeah.
Vacuum sealed them, decorated the jars, and I gave that out to people. So
you're so sweet. That's very appropriate considering we're talking about sugar today.
I know,
right?
Yeah.
You see, we don't need any extra sugar, do we? We're just
not really
pure gorgeous sweetness as it is.
Do you know what? There are so many ways you can do that natural sugar thing and get almost the same hit, obviously depending on how much you use. I tell you what I made last week as well. I had some strawberries that were going over, so I stuck them in my blender, whizzed them up, and then froze them with a load of natural yogurt again. Good old natural yogurt.
So,
what I do without my Greek yogurt. So yeah, I stuck that in the freezer. It was just beautiful, and that's just so good for you. I mean, it's not going to do you any harm.
No, it's not. And this is what I need. I need alternatives to ice cream because that
was it. That was mine. Yeah, because I love ice cream, and that's
why I love an ice cream.
I mean, it comes out great. It's just frozen yogurt, basically.
Yeah. Well, my husband went to the doctor recently. He's been on medication for cholesterol for, I think, 12 years now. And he doesn't eat meat. He doesn't drink alcohol. He has a relatively good diet, you know, sneaks a few snacks here and there in when I'm not watching. But his cholesterol is still a little bit scarily high. You know, it's nothing that they need to lock him up for just yet, but it's not on the safe side. And so now the doctors have said you need to eliminate all, you know, the white bread, the white pasta, the white rice, anything that has that carbohydrate in it that creates sugars. You need to get rid of all sugar. Now, we were having a little, because this is what's interesting. Sometimes we don't realize how much sugar we're ingesting. So we were having a little look at where he scoffs his sugar. And he has 2 spoons of sugar in a coffee, which is too much. We know that, right? But then he's having maybe 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day, you know, when he's jumping around between clients. And then if he's thirsty, he'll grab a Fanta or something, and that has about 8 spoons of sugar in it. Yes. And this is all just mindlessly happening, you know, not thinking. Mm-hmm. So the discussion now is, well, how can we replace at least the sugar in the coffee? Let's just take things one step at a time, because sometimes the idea of eliminating sugar or anything from our lives completely is a bit overwhelming. So we've decided just to tackle the sugar in the coffee. And I got him stevia, you know, which is a natural plant extract sweetener. So he's going with that at the moment. He's not overly keen. It finds it a bit bitter, but, you know, maybe his taste buds will adjust.
Yeah, well, it's a learning curve for your taste buds. It really is.
It is. I mean, if anybody has any suggestions, please let us know. We had moved from the white processed refined sugar to like a more locally produced cane organic sugar, but I think it causes the same issues inside with his cholesterol. So any other suggestions would be welcome. If anybody would like to drop us a line on the WhatsApp, my ears are open to help my poor husband still enjoy his sweet coffees. I remember back in the day when I had a bit of a chubby issue and I was going to Weight Watchers, and they convinced me, and it was hard work to get there, to move away from the white coffee with sugar onto black coffee. Now, that for me was a drastic change. The flavor of a black coffee was very bitter, very strong, and I couldn't really stomach it. But right now, I wouldn't be able to have a white coffee with sugar. I just couldn't do it. You know, I am sold because I persevered, and I'm able to really love my black coffees. Very occasionally in a restaurant, I might have a little sprinkling of sugar just because it's a treat on top of a coffee, but usually black coffee. So it's a case of just, you know, stick with it and your taste buds will adjust and you'll be able to eliminate the sugar. It's not an impossibility. And then when you go back to having something sweet, you might be slightly, whoa, my gosh, that's way sweeter than I ever remembered it, because your body will adjust to the lack of and the change of sugar level. Yeah.
I know in recent times, people have been using coconut oil in coffee, in black coffee. That gives it a different, a bit of a sweet flavor.
There's a coconut sugar, isn't there?
You can get a coconut sugar, yeah.
And there's
I know people that use coconut oil in coffee, but also I've in the past used honey, teeny bit of honey, but again it changes the flavor, but it gives you that sweetness if you need it.
Yeah.
So honey's another, you know,
I mean, we can have an argument then about, you know, honey and how it's produced and all that stuff. But, you know, we can't fix all the problems in the world in 30 minutes. We could try, but I don't think we'd manage it. But that's why it's nice to reach out to people. Tell us what you think, what you use, what are your alternatives, because we want to learn from you guys. Yeah, you're where the knowledge comes from. I know there's date sugar. I've heard that suggested once.
Right.
Maple syrup apparently has other qualities that are actually good for you. It's an antioxidant and things like that.
Oh.
What's that one? Agave.
Agave.
That's agave. That's another one. You know, it's natural, not refined and not processed.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can use these things as alternatives in our baking, in our cooking, and when we can pick up the little canisters of the additions to add to our cups of coffee. If anybody has any questions, drop us a line. Let's see what we can find out for you. And don't over fret with regard to your sugar consumption. Just be aware and have a little think about, is there areas or corners you could cut to reduce it ever so slightly, because it does bring all kinds of nasties along when it comes to...
And you'll thank us later.
Thank us later, yeah. And I need to take all this advice, because this is coming from somebody who has an issue with sugar. I mean, I am addicted to sugar, so I'm very, very cautious. And I try to be mindful of it when I sniff it.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, you can put something in the comments just below. Put something in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe as well at the same time. So, so that we know where we are. Yeah.
We've got 5 minutes left before the end of the show. Do you know what I'd like to talk about? And this is because, again, it's something quite close to my heart, because I have teenage children. It's the energy drinks, Dougie.
Oh, don't.
The Monsters and the Red Bulls.
Don't get me started.
I know. And they're just necking them like they're going out of fashion.
Yeah.
Now, they're banned in my house. But I was driving along the street the other day and I saw my son, and I could see him very quickly hide something behind his back. And I said, "You little tinker, what have you got?" And there was an energy drink.
Is that the exact words you used?
That more or less. That's the censored version of what I said.
Right.
And I just can't understand it, why they're selling this stuff to our kids. It is brutally unhealthy. It is so bad for them, you know. It's causing also, it's full of caffeine, and their little bodies aren't designed to be able to process that level of caffeine. Neither are our bodies. You know, so it's affecting
They don't even need it.
No, it's causing all types of problems with their studies, with their attention deficit. It's giving them palpitations. It's giving them high blood pressure at the age of 14. I mean, for God's sake, like they don't have enough to be dealing with. And it's giving them this restlessness. It piddles me off big time to see this stuff stocked and, you know, shelves and shelves of it stocked in our stores. And we need to be talking about it, and parents need to be saying no more to that absolute trash. Whatever about the other soda drinks and soft drinks and sugary drinks they're consuming, this is a further step in the wrong direction. So we need to be, us folks, we need to be getting strong, man, saying no to the monster.
Yeah.
I was driving an 8-hour drive from Santiago home one year or two ago, and I was falling asleep at the wheel. It was bad. I couldn't, no matter what I did, keep my eyes open. And my sister said to me, stop and get yourself an energy drink. And I said, I will not. She said, you will too. So I did. And I stopped in the carriage and I had a Red Bull. Well, holy Maloney, it was bionic. My eyes were popping out of my head and I drove home wide awake.
Safely though.
I got home safely and I was on fire.
See now, from that point of view, I get it. It should be, it should be in the medicine cabinet. You know,
exactly.
I mean, if you need something to stop you falling asleep at the wheel, then well, I would suggest just have a kip in the car somewhere. Actually, I've done that many a time. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to have an energy drink, that's the time to have it. You know,
it is. It frightened me that it was that good.
Yeah,
you know, it did. I thought this is too good, and now I know why the kids like it and why people are having it. You know, so often. But anyway, listen. Any comments, questions, feedback, anything at all to do with energy drinks, cakes, sugar, sweeties, chocolate, all that stuff. I love talking about it. I'd love to hear from you.
And how can we get in touch with you?
Well, you know, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Walk Your Way Well. I've got loads of walks lined up in April. So if anybody locally in this Costa Blanca area would like to check me out, please do so. And yeah, we're on here on the Lifestyle Lab, chatting about all things good, bad, and indifferent to do with your health. It's been a pleasure as always, Dougie.
Bless you.
I know, you're so sweet. That was the pun there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So we'll do it all again, this time in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we will indeed. Thanks a million, Dougie.
See you soon.
See ya.
Take a walk today, I just